15. That's how many times Ukraine has now struck the Saratov oil refinery since this war began, according to the independent Russian monitoring outlet Astra. Not one dramatic night. 15 separate returns to the exact same facility. And that number matters more than any single night's damage report because a target hit once tells you about capability. A target hit 15 times tells you Russia has never actually solved the problem. Welcome back to the channel. Let's get into what happened and what 15 strikes on one refinery actually means. What happened? On the night of August the 1st into August 2nd, Ukrainian drones struck the Saratov refinery, owned by Russia's state-controlled Rosneft. Ukraine's general staff confirmed the operation, saying it damaged the facility as part of reducing Russia's military and economic potential. The strike hit the AVT-6 unit, the plant's only primary crude processing line. According to the Moscow Times, that unit has been offline since August 2nd, with restoration expected to take 2 to 3 weeks. The same overnight operation also hit the Engels Air Base, sitting right next to the refinery, home to Russia's Tu-95 and Tu-160 strategic bombers. Ukrainian forces also struck a fuel depot in Kaluga's Lyudinovo and a drone storage and launch site near Navlia in Bryansk. 4 targets, one night. Why Saratov keeps coming back. This wasn't the first hit this year. On July 8th, drones disabled Saratov's CDU-6 distillation unit, halting operations entirely. That's roughly 3.5 weeks before Russia's engineers had the plant fully running again, and Ukraine returned, this time hitting a different processing unit inside the same complex. That's the pattern this channel has documented at the Baltic ports and at Tuapse on the Black Sea. Strike, wait for repair crews to almost finish, strike again before they do. The bigger picture. Saratov didn't happen in isolation. One day after this strike, on August 3rd, Lukoil's Volgograd refinery, responsible for roughly 5% of Russia's total refining capacity, also shut down completely following a separate drone attack. 2 major refineries offline within 48 hours of each other. President Zelensky said on June 1st that Ukraine had struck 15 Russian oil refineries since the start of 2026 alone, disabling close to 40% of the country's primary oil processing capacity as of May. The Financial Times separately reported that some Russian refineries still hadn't fully recovered a full year after being hit. Not weeks, a year. That single detail should reframe how you think about each individual strike. These aren't fires that get put out and forgotten by the next news cycle. In a meaningful number of documented cases, they're wounds that simply don't heal on any timeline that matters to the war Russia is currently fighting. Why this one is hard to repair. Saratov is one of Russia's oldest refineries, predating the war by decades and, in parts, predating the Soviet collapse. A crude distillation unit isn't something you patch with generic materials. It's precision industrial equipment, and for a facility this old, some components may not even still be manufactured anywhere. Russian crews either have to custom fabricate replacement parts domestically, a slow and expensive process, or try sourcing equivalents through the same sanctions. Strained supply chains already straining Russia's defense industry. The honest caveats. To be fair here, Saratov region Governor Roman Busargin, as usual, described only vague civilian infrastructure damage without naming specific facilities, a pattern this channel has flagged after nearly every major strike this year. And we don't have independently confirmed figures for exactly how long this specific strike will keep the plant offline. The Moscow Times estimate of 2 to 3 weeks is a reasonable projection, not a certainty. What is confirmed across Astra's tracking, Bloomberg's independent reporting, and Ukraine's own general staff statement is this. Saratov has now been hit at least 15 times. The August 2nd strike disabled its only primary processing unit, and that strike landed in the same week Volgograd's refinery also went dark and Engels got hit again. What it means, Russian air defense doctrine was built to protect targets near the front line. Saratov sits roughly 1,000 kilometers inside Russia's interior, a distance that used to function as its own kind of protection. That assumption has collapsed everywhere this channel has tracked this year, and Saratov's 15-strike history is maybe the clearest proof of it. This is also connected to something else this channel just covered. Russia's record 42,860 personnel losses in July. Fuel doesn't just move export revenue. It moves the tanks and vehicles fighting around Pokrovsk, and the aircraft flying out of bases like Engels. A refining sector running at 1/3 to nearly half its capacity compounds every other pressure point in this war simultaneously. 15 strikes on Saratov isn't a story about Ukraine getting lucky once. It's a story about a refinery Russia has never managed to protect, no matter how many repair crews it sends. Whatever comes next, Strike 16, is simply the next entry in a pattern Russia hasn't found an answer to yet.